Hi, Cold Warrior 78 here again. Something I wanted to mention. I don't normally do gear reviews, but this actually works, so it's worth talking about. And what I'm talking about right now is, let's see if we can get this here. Okay, that's 4Patriots. That's their solar charger. It's the battery with a solar panel on top of it here. You can see the just from the battery, the little LEDs right there, the battery's charging even in this shade. Now, for those of you who aren't real familiar with solar panels and stuff, that's really unusual. I've got big solar panels, I mean like 36 inches long, that you get any kind of shade, a big old tree on a third of it, doesn't work at all. Whole dang thing shuts down. And that's an issue with a lot of solar panels because of the way they stack their or wire, I guess, their individual cells. If you get even 25% shading on those things, the whole thing shuts down. This doesn't. And also, I'd like to say a shout out to these guys. They did it right. It's about time technology caught up to what the promise of this concept was. I've been playing with solar since the 70s, and frankly, the technology has not been adequate, or to my idea. I mean, for something that's been around as long as this concept has, the technology just hasn't really been there. This little thing I bought, taking a chance, because I thought, well, I've seen a lot of these things and I've seen them done wrong. Oops, this does it right. There's enough battery power in here. Last night I charged the battery on the camera, and I did it at the worst possible time. Sun was already down, it was already approaching freezing, so I hooked the charger cord up to the camera battery and let it charge. I just let it charge all night because I was going to sleep. I wasn't going to, pay attention to it. And then first thing I did when I got up this morning is I charged my phone. Now my phone was on all night. Sometime during the night it hit 0. So this guy charged the camera and the phone under the worst possible circumstances, which is absolutely ice cold and no sun. And it's been charging in the sun and in the shade now for maybe an hour. And it's approaching full. It's probably not full yet. I'll probably put it in the sun. But I normally don't do product endorsements or even product reviews, but this works. So if you're looking for a battery to help charge phones and things, and particularly one that has a solar capability, here you have it all in one package. They did it right. I'm going to get more of these things because I think they're worth the effort. I think they're worth the price. One thing, for those of you who don't do solar a lot, when you have a product like this, the sun moves. Now everybody knows that, but let me just, as you look around here, you'll see that yeah, there's sun, there's shade, there's sun, there's shade. We're in the woods, so you have the shading that you would expect. The sun moves fast. I hung this up on my on the front of the truck on the antenna because there was 3 feet of sun on each side of it. It's like, this is great, no problem. I went up, I started the stove. Before I even had the water boiling, I had to come down and move this because the sun had just wandered off and it was in the shade again. Now, kudos to these guys, it was still charging a little bit, but it wasn't charging like it ought to because it's not in the sun. So I had to move it to another place, and then another place, and then another place, and then another place. Not because of this, but because of the trees and the shade. So just realize that when you do that, anything you have that's solar has to be in the sun. And if you have one of those fancy rollout panels, I'm not going to mention any names because some of them work, some of them don't. If you've got any of those fancy panels that people use for backpacking stuff, try it in the sun, see what it'll do. And I'm talking about, like with a voltometer kind of thing. And then move it into partial shade. See if it still works. Most of them don't. So check yourself, check your equipment, make sure you know what's going to work under what conditions. This works, and I don't mind giving them a shout out. Good job, guys. So, it's Cold Warrior 78 saying get back out in the woods and enjoy yourself.